Jack drove his jeep fast across the desert. Every few minutes he looked in the mirror to see if anyone was following them. The alien ships had landed at the crash site, but they would soon start searching the area. "We need to find shelter," Jack said. "Somewhere to hide until we figure out what to do." Lyra sat beside him, one hand pressed to the glowing blue wound on her side. Her opal skin had lost some of its shine, and she looked tired. "My ship was sending out a distress signal," she said. "They will be able to track it and me." "You have a tracker?" Jack asked, concerned. "All royal family members have bio-trackers. It's for our safety." Lyra's silver eyes looked at the sky. "Usually," Jack thought quickly. "Is there any way to block it?" "Lead. Thick lead would block the signal." Jack nodded. There was an old mining area about 20 miles east. If they could reach it, the lead deposits in the area might help hide them. As they drove, the sun climbed higher in the sky. The desert heat was getting worse. Jack offered Lyra his water bottle, but she shook her head. "Your water has too many minerals for my kind," she explained. "Tell me about Lord Drax," Jack said as he drove. "Why does he want you dead?" Lyra's face darkened. "Drax is the commander of our military forces. He gained power during the war with humans. He and others like him have been making a lot of money from this conflict. They've been selling weapons to both sides through secret channels." "Both sides?" Jack was shocked. "You mean he's been selling alien tech to humans?" "To certain humans, who pay well, yes. The war is good business for them. Peace would end that." Jack shook his head in disgust. "And he attacked your ship to stop the peace talks?" "Yes. And to make it look like humans did it." Lyra winced as the jeep hit a bump. "If my mother believes humans killed me, she will never agree to peace." Jack saw movement in the sky behind them. A small dark shape was growing larger. "We've got company," he said, pressing harder on the gas pedal. The jeep bounced roughly over the uneven ground. The alien ship was getting closer. It was smaller than the others they had seen, probably a scout ship. Soon it would be close enough to spot them. Jack turned the jeep toward a narrow canyon. The walls of rock might hide them from view. "Hold on," he warned as he made a sharp turn into the canyon. The jeep barely fit between the high walls of rock. Jack had to drive slowly now to avoid hitting the sides. He glanced up. The scout ship had passed overhead but might circle back. "My wound is getting worse," Lyra said quietly. Jack looked over and saw she was right. The blue glow had spread, moving up toward her chest in thin lines under her skin. "What is it exactly?" he asked. "Radiation poisoning from my ship's core. It's not immediately fatal, but without treatment." She didn't finish the sentence. "What kind of treatment?" "I need medicine from my people. It's available on my homeworld. Or on my mother's flagship." Jack drove in silence for a moment, thinking, "How long do you have?" 3 of your Earth days, maybe 4. They reached the end of the canyon, which opened onto a flat area with several old buildings. This was the abandoned mining facility Jack had remembered. He stopped the jeep behind one of the buildings, hiding it from view. "Let's get inside. We need to rest and make a plan." The main building was dusty but intact. Old mining equipment sat rusting in corners. Jack helped Lyra to sit against a wall, then went to check that all the doors were secure. "Your military will be looking for us too," Lyra said when he returned. "When they find my crashed ship, they will know an alien is loose." "Yeah, I know." Jack sat down across from her. "I'm probably going to be in a lot of trouble." Lyra tilted her head. "You could still leave me. Save yourself." Jack shook his head. "Not going to happen, Princess." "Why? Our people are enemies." "Are they? Or have we both been used by people like Drax who profit from war?" Before Lyra could answer, they heard a noise outside. Jack quickly put a finger to his lips and pulled out his gun. He moved silently to a window and peered out. A figure was approaching the building. Not alien, but human. An older woman with silver hair carrying what looked like an old pulse rifle. She was moving carefully, checking around corners as she came closer. "Someone's coming," Jack whispered. "Stay quiet." The door creaked open slowly. Jack pressed himself against the wall, ready to surprise the intruder. As the woman stepped inside, he jumped forward, pointing his gun at her. "Don't move," he ordered. The woman spun around, raising her rifle. "You're the one who should freeze, soldier," she said in a calm voice. "This is my home you've broken into." They stood there, weapons pointed at each other. Then the woman's eyes moved past Jack and widened when she saw Lyra. "My God," she whispered. "A sovereign." Jack frowned. "You know what she is?" The woman lowered her rifle slightly. "Dr. Olivia Reeves, former xenobiologist with Earth Defense. And yes, I know a celestial sovereign when I see one. The opal skin is distinctive." Lyra stood up, wincing with pain. "You're the human scientist who wrote about biological compatibility between our species." Olivia looked surprised. "You've read my work?" "I studied humans extensively. Your papers suggested our peoples are more similar than different." "Papers that got me fired and forced me to live out here like a hermit," Olivia said bitterly. She looked at Jack. "What are you doing with a sovereign princess? Those are royal markings on her armor." "How do you know she's a princess?" Jack asked, still not lowering his gun. "I've been monitoring coalition communications for years. I know Princess Lyra was expected at peace talks." Olivia finally lowered her rifle completely. The same talks that were just canceled because her ship was supposedly attacked by humans. "It wasn't humans," Lyra said. "It was Lord Drax." "Drax?" Olivia looked alarmed. "The military commander? Well, that's just perfect." Jack finally lowered his weapon. "Lyra is injured, radiation poisoning from her ship. She needs to get to her mother's ship." Olivia moved closer to examine Lyra's wound. "Core radiation, nasty stuff." She looked up at the princess. "Your mother's flagship has entered Earth's solar system under a flag of truce. She's demanding to recover your remains." "She thinks I'm dead," Lyra said sadly. "Meanwhile, Earth's military thinks your crash was the first move in a new attack. They're preparing to strike first." Olivia stood up. "We're looking at an escalation that could make the past 3 years look like a playground scuffle." Jack ran a hand through his hair. "How do you know all this?" Olivia gestured for them to follow her. "Come with me, I'll show you." She led them to another room where a makeshift communications array sat humming. Screens showed various data feeds and communications. "I've been monitoring both sides for years, trying to understand the conflict better." Olivia typed on a keyboard, and one of the screens showed a large, beautiful ship surrounded by smaller vessels. "That's the Queen's flagship, currently in orbit around your moon." "Can we contact them?" Jack asked. "Not directly. Not without every Earth defense system locking onto this location." Lyra suddenly gasped and leaned against the wall. The blue lines from her wound had spread further. "She's getting worse," Jack said with concern. Olivia nodded. "I have some medical supplies that might slow it down, but she needs her people's medicine." Jack looked at the screens thinking, "What about my friend Major Diane Harper? She commands a reconnaissance craft near the lunar defense perimeter. If we could get a message to her." Olivia considered this. "I might be able to send a coded message that won't trigger alarms." "What would you tell her?" Jack looked at Lyra, then back at Olivia. "I'd tell her, Firefly carries Sunrise. Needs escort to Morning Star. She'll know it's from me. I once saved her life in a battle on Mars." "Will she help?" Lyra asked weakly. "Diane is a good soldier, but she also questions orders when they don't make sense. If I can explain what's really happening, she might help us." Olivia sat at her equipment. "I'll try to get the message through, but understand what you're asking her. To risk her career, maybe her life." "I know," Jack said quietly, "but there are bigger things at stake now." As Olivia worked on sending the message, Jack helped Lyra to sit down. Her breathing was becoming labored. "Thank you," Lyra said softly, "for everything you're doing." Jack smiled at her. "Just hold on. Princess, we'll get you home." Outside, the sun was setting. The first day was ending. They had 3 more days to get Lyra to her mother's ship before the radiation poisoning became fatal. And somewhere out there, both alien mercenaries and Earth Military forces were hunting for them. The morning sun was just starting to rise over the Nevada desert. Staff Sergeant Jack Miller drove his patrol jeep over the dusty ground. He had been in the Army for 8 years. This morning was supposed to be a normal patrol like any other. Jack wiped sweat from his forehead. Even this early, the heat was already building. He reached for his water bottle when a bright light in the sky caught his eye. A purple streak cut across the dawn sky like nothing he had ever seen before. It wasn't a plane or a shooting star. The purple light grew brighter as it got closer to the ground. Then came the crash. The earth shook under Jack's jeep. The impact was miles away, but he felt it like it was right next to him. Dust rose into the air from the crash site. Jack grabbed his radio. He should report this. But something made him pause. What if this was something important? Something he needed to see first? He put the radio down and turned his jeep toward the rising dust cloud. He knew he was breaking rules by not calling it in, but his gut told him to check it out first. After 20 minutes of driving over rough terrain, Jack reached the crash site. He stopped the jeep and got out slowly, his hand on his gun. A deep trench cut into the earth, ending at a large object half buried in the ground. Jack moved closer. It wasn't a plane or a meteor. The object was smooth and made of something like crystal that shone with purple and blue light. Parts of it were broken, and strange liquids dripped from the cracks. A spacecraft, Jack whispered to himself. An actual alien spacecraft. The military had been fighting a war with aliens for 3 years now. The Coalition of Sentient Worlds, they called themselves. The war had started after a misunderstanding at first contact. Now humans and aliens shot at each other in space and on distant planets. But Jack had never seen an alien up close. Few people on Earth had. He walked around the ship looking for a way in. At the front, he found what looked like a broken window. Inside, he could see movement. Someone, or something, was alive in there. Jack crouched down to look through the broken crystal window. Inside, among blinking lights and strange technology, was a being unlike any he had ever seen. It looked almost human in shape, but with skin that shimmered like opals, changing colors as it moved. Its hair was like fine silver wire, and its eyes were pure liquid silver with no pupils. The alien looked at Jack with fear. It was pinned under a fallen piece of the ship. As Jack watched, the alien tried to reach for something on a panel near its hand, but couldn't quite reach it. The being was wearing what looked like armor with strange symbols on it. Despite the fear in its eyes, there was also a kind of strength there. Jack realized this wasn't just any alien. This one was important. Jack made a decision. He would help. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, knowing the alien probably couldn't understand him. He pointed to himself. "Jack." The alien stopped struggling and stared at him. Then, to his surprise, it spoke. "You speak the human language," Jack said, shocked. "We have studied your kind," the alien said in a musical voice. "I am Lyra, Princess of the Celestial Sovereignty, a princess." Jack knew enough about the war to know that the Celestial Sovereignty was one of the major powers in the Coalition. If this was their princess, this was big. "You're hurt," Jack said, looking at the metal beam pinning her down. "Yes, my ship was attacked. I need to contact my mother, Queen Naya. There are those who want me dead." Jack looked around. He should call this in. This was way above his pay grade. But if he called it in, what would happen to the alien princess? The war had made everyone suspicious. They might shoot first and ask questions later. "Can I help you get out?" he asked. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "The emergency release is there." She pointed to a crystal button near the window. Jack reached in and pressed it. With a hiss, the front of the ship opened wider. He climbed in carefully and moved to the beam, pinning Lyra down. "On 3, he said. 1, 2, 3. He lifted with all his strength, and the beam moved just enough for Lyra to pull herself free. Now that he could see her fully, Jack was struck by how both alien and human she looked. She was tall and graceful, her skin shifting from blue to purple to green as she moved. Her silver eyes studied him, just as he studied her. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Our people are at war." Jack shrugged. "You needed help." Lyra tried to stand, but winced in pain. Jack noticed a glowing blue liquid seeping from a wound on her side. "You're bleeding," he said. "It's radiation from the ship's core. It's damaged. We need to move away from here soon. My jeep is just over there. Can you walk?" Lyra nodded and tried to stand again. This time she managed it, but she was unsteady. Without thinking, Jack offered his arm for support. After a moment's hesitation, Lyra took it. As they made their way slowly from the crashed ship, a sound from above made them both look up. Several dark shapes were moving across the sky. "They've found me," Lyra said, her voice tight with fear. "Who?" Jack asked. "Lord Drax's mercenaries. He arranged the attack on my ship. He wants me dead so he can control my mother and continue the war with humans." Jack looked at her in surprise. "Continue the war? You mean you don't want to fight us?" "I was on my way to secret peace talks when I was attacked. Drax and others profit from this war. They don't want peace." The shapes in the sky were getting closer. Jack could now see they were sleek black ships, nothing like the bulky human spacecraft he knew. "We need to move," Jack said, helping Lyra toward his jeep. "Can you tell me where to take you? Is there somewhere safe?" Lyra looked at the approaching ships, then back at Jack. "My mother's flagship is in orbit around your moon for the talks, but we'll never reach it. Not with Drax's people hunting me and your military shooting at anything not human." Jack helped her into the jeep. "Let's worry about one problem at a time. First, we need to get away from here." As he started the engine, Lyra placed a hand on his arm. Her touch was warm, almost electric. "Why are you really helping me, human?" Jack looked into her silver eyes. "Jack, my name is Jack, and I'm helping because it seems like the right thing to do. If you want peace, then maybe I do too." The jeep roared to life, and Jack drove away from the crash site as fast as he could. Behind them, the alien ships were landing near the crashed spacecraft. Jack didn't know what he was getting into, but he knew one thing. His life would never be the same again. Night fell over the desert. Inside Olivia's hidden outpost, Jack watched Lyra sleep. The alien princess had grown weaker, the blue lines of radiation poisoning spreading across her skin. Olivia had given her something to ease the pain, but it was only a temporary fix. "How long until we hear from your friend?" Olivia asked, entering the room with 2 cups of coffee. Jack took one of the cups. "If the message got through, Diane will respond within 12 hours, if she can help us. And if she can't?" Jack didn't answer. They both knew what that meant. Olivia sat down across from him. "So you really think this alien princess can bring peace?" "I don't know," Jack admitted. "But I know she was willing to risk her life trying. And I know this Lord Drax wants her dead to keep the war going. That tells me something." Olivia nodded. "I studied the sovereigns for years before the war. They're not that different from us, you know. They value family, art, learning. The war has been as hard on them as it has been on humans." "How did you end up out here?" Jack asked. Olivia's face hardened. "I published papers showing that humans and sovereigns are biologically compatible, that we might even have common ancestors. The military didn't like that idea. They need the aliens to seem completely different. Easier to fight something that seems nothing like you." A soft beeping came from the communication array. Olivia hurried over to it, with Jack right behind her. "Is it Diane?" Jack asked. Olivia typed quickly, her eyes scanning the screen. "Yes. She's asking for proof it's really you. Tell her, red sunset on Mars, shared canteen, broken radio," Jack said. "She'll know it's me." Olivia sent the message. A minute later, the reply came. "She's in. She wants coordinates for pickup, says she can be here in 6 hours." Jack felt relief wash over him. "Tell her we'll be ready." A soft voice came from behind them. "The coalition forces will be searching for us." They turned to see Lyra standing in the doorway, looking pale but determined. "You should be resting," Jack said, moving to help her. "There isn't time." Lyra's silver eyes were clouded now. the radiation affecting her vision. Drax's mercenaries will be searching every inch of this desert. They won't stop until they find me. She's right, Olivia said, checking another screen. I'm picking up increased communications chatter. They're expanding the search area. Jack helped Lyra to a chair. Then we need to be ready to move as soon as Diane arrives. I've been monitoring Earth military channels too, Olivia added. They found your Jeep, Jack. They know a soldier went AWOL at the same time an alien ship crashed. They're looking for you as well. Jack nodded grimly. He had expected as much. What about the Queen's ship? Are they still in orbit? For now, but Earth's Defense Council is voting on whether to attack. They think the Queen's arrival is the start of an invasion. Lyra looked up sharply. We must stop them. My mother would never start a war. From what I've seen, Olivia said, your mother is preparing to attack Earth herself. She believes humans killed you. The room fell silent. The situation was worse than they had thought. We need to get to Diane's ship, Jack said finally. It's the only way to reach the Queen in time. Olivia went to a storage cabinet and pulled out some supplies. I have some things that might help. Portable jammers to hide your biosignature, Princess, and some old military gear that might get you past the initial checkpoints. As they prepared for the journey, Jack noticed Lyra watching him. Why are you doing this? She asked quietly. You're risking everything for an alien. Jack checked his gun before answering. When I saw your ship crash, I could have called it in. That would have been the safe choice, the easy choice. But something told me to check it out myself. And when I found you, he paused. I don't know. Something felt right about helping you. Like maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Lyra's opal skin shimmered slightly, her version of a smile. On my world, we have a saying. When stars align, the universe speaks. Perhaps the universe arranged our meeting. Jack smiled back. Maybe so, Princess. Hours passed as they prepared. Olivia taught Lyra how to use the jammer to hide her biosignature. Jack studied the maps of the area, planning their route to the rendezvous point. As dawn approached, Olivia's communication array beeped again. Diane is approaching, she announced. ETA 20 minutes. Let's move, Jack said, helping Lyra to her feet. Olivia handed them each a small pack with supplies. The rendezvous point is 3 miles east. There's an old landing pad from the mining. Days. I'll stay here and try to jam any signals looking for you. Give you a head start. Come with us, Jack said. It's not safe here anymore. Olivia shook her head. Someone needs to run interference. Besides, this is my home. I'm not leaving it. Jack knew there was no point arguing. Thank you, Olivia, for everything. The older woman nodded. Just make this count, soldier. End this war. Jack and Lyra slipped out into the pre-dawn darkness. The desert was cold now, their breath visible in the air. Lyra was weak, but determined. They moved as quickly as they could toward the rendezvous point. Tell me about your friend, Lyra said as they walked. This Major Harper. Can we trust her? Diane is one of the good ones, Jack replied. She questions orders when they don't make sense. On Mars, she disobeyed a direct command to abandon wounded soldiers. That's when I met her. We were pinned down by enemy fire, and she came back for us when everyone else had left. She sounds brave. She is. And smart. If anyone can get us to your mother's ship, it's Diane. They walked in silence for a while. The stars were still visible above them, though fading as the sky began to lighten. My people have always loved the stars, Lyra said, looking up. We built our cities to mirror the constellations. Every child learns to navigate by starlight before they learn to read. That sounds beautiful, Jack said. It is. I wish you could see it. The blue lines on Lyra's skin were spreading faster now. Jack noticed her steps becoming more unsteady. Here, let me help you, he said, putting his arm around her waist for support. Thank you, she whispered. Her skin felt warm where it touched his, almost electric. They reached the old landing pad just as the first rays of sun touched the horizon. It was a flat concrete area, cracked with age and partially covered by sand. They took cover behind some old equipment and waited. Minutes later, they heard the low hum of engines. A small, sleek ship appeared in the sky, moving fast and low to avoid detection. "That's Diane," Jack said, recognizing the reconnaissance craft. The ship hovered over the landing pad, kicking up dust as it gently touched down. The side door opened, and a figure in a military uniform stepped out. Major Diane Harper was tall and stern-looking, with short brown hair and alert eyes. She scanned the area quickly, her hand near her sidearm. Jack stood up, keeping Lyra behind him. "Diane!" he called. The major turned, her face showing relief when she saw him. "Jack, thank God, are you all right?" "I'm fine, but we need to move quickly." Jack helped Lyra step forward. Diane's eyes widened when she saw the alien princess. "So, it's true, you have her." "This is Princess Lyra of the Celestial Sovereignty," Jack said. "She's injured and needs to reach her mother's ship." Diane looked at Lyra with a mix of curiosity and caution. "You realize what you're asking me to do? Help an alien during wartime?" "The war is based on lies," Jack said firmly. Lyra was coming to peace talks when she was attacked by her own people, ones who profit from this war. If we don't get her to her mother, both sides are going to escalate this conflict to a point of no return. Diane's face was tight with conflicting loyalties. "I'm risking court-martial." "I know. But you've done the right thing over the easy thing before. That's why I contacted you." Diane looked at Lyra again, noticing the blue lines of poison spreading across her skin. "She's sick. Radiation poisoning from her ship. She has maybe 2 days left without treatment." Diane seemed to make up her mind. "Get on board, quickly." They hurried to the ship. Just as they reached it, the sound of engines filled the air. Looking up, they saw 3 ships approaching, 2 human military vessels and 1 sleek black alien craft. "They found us," Jack said. "Both sides." "Inside now," Diane ordered, pushing them through the door. She ran to the cockpit as Jack helped Lyra into a seat. The ship's engines roared to life. "Hold on," Diane called back to them. "This is going to be rough." The reconnaissance craft shot upward, accelerating hard. Jack felt the pressure push him into his seat. Beside him, Lyra gasped in pain as the force aggravated her injuries. Through the viewport, Jack could see the other ships giving chase. "Can we outrun them?" he shouted to Diane. "The human ships, yes. They're patrol vessels. But that alien craft is faster than us." Diane's hands flew over the controls. "I'm going to try to lose them in the clouds, then make a run for orbit." The ship banked hard, diving into a bank of clouds. For a moment, they lost sight of their pursuers. "That won't fool them for long," Jack said. "I know, but it might buy us a few minutes." Diane glanced back at them. "I hope this princess of yours is worth it, Jack." Jack looked at Lyra, who was fighting to stay conscious despite her pain. The alien who had come to make peace, who had risked everything to end a war that was killing both their peoples. "She is, Diane," he said softly. "She really is." The small ship broke through Earth's atmosphere, shaking violently as Diane pushed it to its limits. Behind them, the alien ship and one of the human vessels had managed to keep pace. The second human ship had fallen back, damaged by Diane's evasive maneuvers. "We've got Earth defense on the comm," Diane called from the cockpit. "They're ordering us to turn back or be fired upon." Jack moved to the cockpit, grabbing a handhold as the ship banked sharply. "Can you get us to the lunar defense perimeter before they shoot us down?" "Maybe. But once we're there, we'll have the Queen's fleet to deal with. They're not likely to welcome a human ship either." In the passenger compartment, Lyra's condition was worsening. The blue lines of radiation poisoning had reached her neck, and her breathing was becoming shallow. Jack returned to her side. "Hang on, Princess, we're almost there." Lyra's silver eyes focused on him with effort. "Jack, if I don't make it, you must still reach my mother. Tell her the truth about Drax." "You're going to tell her yourself," Jack insisted. The ship rocked as weapons fire passed close by. Diane cursed and sent their ship into a spin to avoid another shot. "The lunar perimeter is just ahead," she shouted. "But we've got bigger problems. Earth defense has activated the orbital defense platforms. They're targeting us." Jack looked out the viewport. In the distance, he could see the outline of the moon, and around it the shimmering forms of several large ships. The Queen's fleet. "Can you open a communication channel to the Queen's flagship?" he asked. "Not from here," Diane replied. "Our comms don't have that range, and even if they did, they'd be jamming us." Another blast rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed on the control panel. "Hull breach in the rear compartment," Diane reported grimly. "Sealing it now." "How much further?" Jack asked. 10 minutes to reach the Queen's fleet. If we make it that far." Lyra suddenly cried out in pain. Jack turned to see her clutching her head, the blue lines pulsing with light. But something strange was happening. The area around her began to shimmer, and suddenly the air was filled with images, holographic projections emanating from Lyra herself. "What's happening?" Jack asked, moving carefully through the floating images. "Neural pathway degradation," Lyra gasped. "The radiation, it's causing my memories to project." The images solidified, showing scenes from Lyra's life. Jack saw a grand crystal palace with towers that reached into purple skies. He saw a tall, regal woman with the same opal skin as Lyra, the Queen. "She's projecting her memories," Jack called to Diane. "Can we record this?" Diane glanced back. The ship's systems should be recording everything automatically. The holographic images shifted. Now they showed Lyra in what looked like a library, studying images of Earth. Another scene showed her arguing with older aliens in formal attire, gesturing passionately while they looked disapproving. "What are we seeing?" Jack asked softly. Lyra's eyes were unfocused, lost in the memories. "My training for diplomatic service. I always believed peace was possible, but my advisors, they warned me against trusting humans." The images shifted again. Now they showed Lyra secretly accessing data about human culture, history, art. Jack watched as holographic Lyra smiled at human music, studied human literature. "You were learning about us. In secret. Against orders," Lyra whispered. "Had to understand. To make peace." Another memory appeared. Lyra in a heated argument with a tall, imposing alien with dark green skin and golden eyes. Even without being told, Jack knew this was Lord Drax. "War serves no one but you and your kind," holographic Lyra was saying. "Millions die while you profit," the memory Drax sneered. "Peace will weaken us. Humans cannot be trusted. They attack what they don't understand." "As do we, it seems," memory Lyra replied coldly. The ship shuddered again as another blast hit them. Diane's voice was tense. "We've got multiple bogies on our tail now. 5 minutes to the Queen's fleet." Jack looked from the holographic memories to the real Lyra, who was barely conscious now. "Hold on, Princess, just a little longer." The images shifted once more. This time they showed Lyra boarding her ship, preparing for the secret journey to peace talks. Her final words to her mother echoed in the cabin. "When I return, Mother, it will be with hope for a new beginning." Tears formed in Jack's eyes. So much hope, so much courage, and it had nearly been destroyed by those who wanted war. Diane's voice cut through his thoughts. "We're approaching the lunar defense perimeter. The Queen's ships are powering up weapons." "No." Jack rushed to the cockpit. Ahead, he could see the magnificent Sovereign flagship, a massive crystalline vessel that glowed with inner light. Surrounding it were smaller warships, all turning to face them. "Can we broadcast to them?" Jack asked desperately. "They're jamming all frequencies," Diane replied. "Standard procedure," Jack thought quickly. "The recording of Lyra's memories. Can you set it to broadcast on all frequencies? Full power?" Diane nodded, understanding. "It might break through their jamming if we get close enough. But we'd be right, in their firing range." "Do it," Jack said. "It's our only chance." Diane programmed the ship's communication system to broadcast the recording, then took manual control of the ship. "Hang on," she warned. The small craft surged forward, heading straight for the Queen's flagship. Behind them, Their pursuers hesitated, unwilling to follow so close to the alien fleet. Warnings blared as the Sovereign ships locked weapons on them. Jack watched as crystal spikes on the flagship began to glow with energy. "They're going to fire," Diane said, her voice calm despite the danger. "Keep going," Jack urged. "Get us closer." The ship's systems were now broadcasting Lyra's memories at full power. Jack prayed it would be enough to make the Queen hesitate. The flagship's weapons reached full charge. Jack closed his eyes, waiting for the end. Nothing happened. He opened his eyes to see the flagship's weapons powering down. On the communication panel, a light began to blink. "They're hailing us," Diane said, surprised. She activated the channel. A stern alien voice spoke in perfect English. "Human vessel, identify yourself and state your purpose." Jack leaned toward the comm. "This is Staff Sergeant Jack Miller of Earth Defense. I have Princess Lyra aboard. She's alive but critically injured. She needs immediate medical attention." There was a pause. Then the voice returned. "Prepare to be brought aboard via tractor beam. Any hostile action will result in your destruction." Diane looked at Jack. "Are you sure about this? Once we're on that ship, we're at their mercy." Jack nodded. "It's our only choice." The ship shuddered as a beam of light from the flagship caught them. Slowly, they were pulled toward a large opening in the crystal hull. Jack returned to Lyra's side. The holographic projections had stopped, and she lay still, the blue lines having reached her face. Her breathing was shallow. "We made it," he told her, taking her hand. "We're going to your mother's ship." Lyra's eyes fluttered open slightly. "Jack," she whispered, "thank you." The small craft was pulled into a vast hangar bay inside the flagship. Through the viewport, Jack could see dozens of armed sovereigns waiting, their weapons trained on the ship. "This is it," Diane said, joining them. "What's the plan?" Jack gently lifted Lyra in his arms. "I'm going to carry her out. You stay behind me. And if they shoot us, then we die knowing we tried to do the right thing." Jack looked down at Lyra. "But I don't think they will. Not when they see her." The ship settled onto the hangar floor. With a hiss, the outer door began to open. Jack stood in the doorway, Lyra in his arms, facing dozens of alien weapons. He walked forward slowly, making no sudden moves. "Princess Lyra needs medical attention," he said loudly. "The radiation poisoning is reaching critical levels." For a moment, no one moved. Then the aliens parted to allow a group of what appeared to be medical personnel to approach. They carried crystal devices Jack didn't recognize. One of the medical team reached for Lyra. Jack hesitated, then carefully transferred her to them. The aliens immediately began using their devices on her, the blue lines on her skin responding to the treatment. A commanding voice rang out. "Where is my daughter?" The crowd parted again. This time, a tall, regal figure approached. Queen Naya was exactly as Jack had seen in Lyra's memories, majestic with opal skin that shimmered with more colors than her daughter's, and eyes of pure gold rather than silver. The Queen stopped before Jack, her expression a mixture of hope and suspicion. "You claim to have saved my daughter. Why would a human soldier do this?" Jack met her gaze steadily. "Because she was trying to bring peace, because she believes our peoples don't have to be enemies, and because it was the right thing to do." "Pretty words," the Queen said coldly. "But humans attacked her ship. Humans tried to kill her." "No, Your Majesty. It wasn't humans, it was Lord Drax." The Queen's expression hardened. "You dare accuse the commander of my forces?" "It's the truth. Lyra can confirm it when she recovers." Jack gestured to where the medical team was working on the princess. "She told me everything. Drax arranged the attack to prevent the peace talks. He and others profit from this war and don't want it to end." The Queen looked uncertain for the first time. "You have proof of this?" "Your daughter's own memories," Diane spoke up, stepping forward. "Our ship recorded them when the radiation caused them to project. We can show you." The Queen considered this, then nodded to one of her guards. "Bring the recording. I will see this evidence." Queen Naya stood on the command deck of her flagship. her gold eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The recording of Lyra's memories played in the air, showing her daughter's secret studies of humans, her confrontation with Lord Drax, and her passionate belief in peace. "This evidence is compelling," the Queen said as the recording ended. She turned to face Jack and Diane, who stood respectfully to one side. "But Drax has many supporters among my people. We will need more to convince them." "What about the attack on Lyra's ship?" Jack asked. "There must be records, flight logs, communications that would prove Drax was behind it." The Queen nodded. "My technicians are searching now, but Drax is clever. He may have covered his tracks well." A sovereign officer approached and bowed. "Your Majesty, we have detained Lord Drax as ordered. He demands to know the charges against him." "Tell him he will learn soon enough," the Queen replied coldly. The officer hesitated. "There is more, Your Majesty. Several of our warship captains are questioning your orders. They are loyal to Lord Drax and claim the humans have manipulated you." The Queen's face hardened. "Have those captains relieved of command immediately." "It may not be that simple, Mother." Lyra entered the command deck, moving slowly but steadily. The medical treatment had removed most of the blue lines from her skin, though she still looked pale. Jack was relieved to see her up and walking. "The military has become too powerful under Drax," Lyra continued. "Many believe his propaganda that humans can never be trusted, that war is our only option. Then we must show them they are wrong," the Queen said firmly. Another officer hurried onto the deck. "Your Majesty, Earth forces are moving. Their defense fleet has launched from the lunar base." The holographic display shifted to show several human warships approaching. Though smaller than the sovereign vessels, they were heavily armed. "They're forming an attack pattern," the officer reported. "They still believe we attacked Lyra's ship," Jack realized. "They think this is the start of an invasion." The Queen turned to him. "Can you contact your leaders? Make them understand the truth?" Jack shook his head. "Not from here. They'd never believe a transmission from your ship. And if Drax has allies among humans as well, they'll be working to push for war." Diane stepped forward. "We could return to Earth in our ship. Try to reach Defense Command directly." "There's no time," Lyra said, looking at the display. "Those ships will be in firing range in 20 minutes, Jack thought quickly. "What if we broadcast Lyra's memories to the Earth fleet, the same way we did to you?" "They would likely dismiss it as alien trickery," the Queen replied. "Then I'll speak to them," Jack said. "A human face and voice. I'll tell them what really happened." The Queen considered this. "It might work, but the ships may still have orders to attack regardless." "We have to try," Lyra insisted. "Too many have died already in this pointless war." The Queen nodded to her communications officer. "Prepare a channel to broadcast to the Earth fleet. Maximum strength, all frequencies." As the officer worked, Lyra moved to Jack's side. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything." Jack smiled at her. "We're not out of this yet, Princess. No. But whatever happens, you've given us a chance for peace. That's more than we had before." The communications officer turned to them. "Channel ready, Your Majesty." The Queen gestured to Jack. "Speak, human. Try to reach your people." Jack stepped forward, facing the communication array. He took a deep breath. "This is Staff Sergeant Jack Miller of Earth Defense Force. I'm aboard the Sovereign flagship with Princess Lyra, who is alive and well. The attack on her ship was not carried out by the Sovereigns, nor was it ordered by Earth. It was the work of those who profit from this war, corrupt officials on both sides who don't want peace." Jack paused, gathering his thoughts. "I've seen proof that Lord Drax, the sovereign military commander, orchestrated the attack on the princess to prevent peace talks. He has been selling weapons to both sides, prolonging a war that has cost millions of lives." He looked at Lyra, then back to the communication array. "Princess Lyra was coming to negotiate peace when she was attacked. I found her in the Nevada desert and helped her return to her mother. Now we're trying to stop another battle before it begins." Jack's voice grew more passionate. "We don't have to be enemies. The princess risked her life because she believed our peoples could live in peace. I've come to believe the same. Please, stand down your weapons. Let's talk instead of fight for once. The command deck fell silent as Jack finished speaking. For several long moments there was no response from the Earth fleet. Then a voice came through the communications array. This is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. Miller, if that's really you, what was the code phrase from Operation Stardust? Jack smiled slightly. Broken Arrow finds home. There was a pause. Identity confirmed. But these are extraordinary claims, Sergeant. We need more than your word. I understand, sir, Jack replied. But consider this. If the Sovereigns wanted war, why would they let me speak freely to you? Why not just attack? They have the superior force here. Another voice broke in. This is General Reed. We have standing orders. The Sovereigns entered our solar system with a battle fleet to recover her daughter's remains. Jack interrupted. They thought Princess Lyra was dead, killed by humans. It was all part of Drax's plan to escalate the conflict. Lyra stepped forward. Let me speak to them. Jack nodded and moved aside. Lyra faced the communication array with regal bearing despite her weakened state. People of Earth, I am Princess Lyra of the Celestial Sovereignty. I came to your world seeking peace between our peoples. There are those on both sides who fear that peace, who profit from our conflict and suffering. They tried to kill me, to prevent talks from beginning. She gestured to Jack. This human found me injured and could have turned me over to his military. Instead, he chose to help me return to my mother. He risked his life, his career, everything to do what was right. He showed me that the beliefs I held about humanity's capacity for compassion were correct. Lyra's voice grew stronger. I ask you now to show that same courage. Stand down your weapons. Let us talk instead of fight. Let us build a future together instead of destroying each other. The silence that followed seemed to stretch forever. The display showed the Earthships continuing their approach. They're not stopping, Diane said quietly. The Queen turned to her weapons officer. Defensive positions only. We will not fire first. Suddenly, the lead Earthship slowed, then another. Within moments, the entire fleet had reduced speed. Admiral? Chen's voice came through again. We're receiving data from our intelligence division. It appears there may be some merit to your claims. Communications have been intercepted between Lord Drax and unknown human contacts, discussing weapons deals. Jack and Lyra exchanged hopeful glances. We're willing to hold position and talk, the Admiral continued. But we'll need more substantial proof before standing down completely. The Queen stepped forward. This is Queen Naya. We are preparing all evidence we have gathered against Lord Drax. We propose a meeting. Neutral ground. Limited personnel from both sides. Agreed, came the reply. We'll send coordinates for a rendezvous point. As the communication ended, a cheer went up among the Sovereign crew. The Queen raised a hand for silence. This is only a beginning, she said. There is much work to be done. One of the Queen's advisors approached. Your Majesty, Lord Drax is demanding to speak with you. The Queen's eyes narrowed. Bring him here. Let him face those he has wronged. Minutes. Later, Lord Drax was brought onto the command deck, flanked by guards. The tall alien with dark green skin and golden eyes looked around with contempt. What is the meaning of this, Your Majesty? He demanded. Why am I being treated as a criminal? And why are there humans aboard the royal flagship? You know very well why, the Queen replied coldly. She gestured, and Lyra's memories began to play again, specifically the confrontation between her and Drax. Drax watched, his face betraying nothing. When the recording ended, he laughed. The fevered memories of a radiation-poisoned girl? This is your evidence? Not just that, the Queen said. She nodded to an officer, who brought forward a data crystal. We have recovered communications between your personal ship and the mercenary vessel that attacked my daughter, and the humans have intercepted your weapons deals. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Drax's face. He looked at Jack with hatred. This human has turned you against your own kind. Can't you see that? Humans are manipulative, deceptive creatures. The only deception here is yours, Lyra said, stepping forward. You never wanted peace because peace would end your power and your profits. Drax's composure finally broke. Peace? Peace would make us weak. The humans would eventually turn on us, use our trust against us. War is the natural state between different species. You're wrong, Jack said quietly. I've seen both our peoples now. We're more alike than different. We both love, fear, hope, dream. We both want safety for our families and a future for our children. Sentimental nonsense. Drax sneered. The Queen had heard enough. Take him away, she ordered the guards. He will stand trial for treason, attempted murder of the royal, heir and war profiteering.